Let them coordinate themselves. Alright, just a little background of it. I'm muting them so they can speak and I can't hear, but technically they can hear me. You can hear me, right? You just need to nod your head. I can't hear you. Okay. Alright, just some background. Both Ben and Ivana are the focal point. Two out of the four of the major group children and youth. The major group children and youth is part of the UN CSB process, Commission on Sustainable Development. We started from '92, the new summit itself. Alright, so I had the opportunity to work with Ben. Dates all the way back to 2008, 08, 09, when I first met Ben in the process of the CSB. So two of them are very experienced, and they've done quite a handful of stuff back in Europe. So today's intent is very simple. Number one, to share with you more about what their work is in Europe. Secondly, also they have this group that's called Rio Plus 20s. The intention is to bring young people together. So they share a bit more about that. And then thirdly, there will be then a Q&A session. Then you guys will ask them questions and they will try to respond. And if technology doesn't fail us, we should be able to get this done within 30 minutes. Okay? Alright, so now I'm coming back and I'm unmuting the two of them. Now
muting. Unmuting.
Unmuting. So Ben on the left is currently in Brussels and Ivana is from Serbia but she's now in Bulgaria. Is that right? Alright, so I have to use the mic because I don't speak loud enough. Alright, so to go first.
Yeah, good.
Alright, Ben, would you like to go first?
Sorry, Wilson?
Would you like to go first, Ben?
Okay, so you want me to go first?
Yes, now I want
to. Is that okay for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Hi everybody. It's nice to see Nepal, but it looks quite dark. That's probably the technology. My name is Ben from Data Center. I live in Brussels, but my field of action, and hopefully after this session also your field of action, is not local. I don't work on sustainable development in Brussels or in Belgium or even no longer in Europe. My field of action is a global one. Together with Ivana and some other people, some highly involved young people, we've recently founded an NGO called Rio Plus 20s. And as you can see, there are already some similarities between Rio Plus 20 and Rio Plus 20 in the name. That was quite deliberate because the yoga that we are creating is a sort of device to only function in function of Rio Plus 20. What we mean with that is that on the one hand, we do acknowledge that Rio Plus 20 is really for the young generations and the future generations, because as you probably have seen in early in the program, this is really one of the last chances to make sort of blueprint for livable planet. So in that sense, it's really a youth and a child and a future generations summit. But what we see in practice is that while that may actually come out into the rhetoric, the US government has dubbed it initially as Rio for 20-somethings. It's often not the fact in practice. If you go to the political decision-making process, it's often about basically just old people negotiating, talking to each other, deciding amongst each other. So that voice of young people isn't necessarily there. Ivana will talk about the structural features of participation with a major group of youth and children. But what we wanted to do at Rio Plus 20s is that in order for the voice of young people and children and future generations to be heard, you have on the one hand the elements that pertain to access and children and youth, and I will talk about. also has other dimensions, which is more in terms of empowerment and capacity. And that is a little bit where we at Rio X20s want to jump in. We will try to see where we can help. Are there opportunities to raise the quality of something, to raise the capacity of young people, to put them into an empowerment trajectory? Then we will jump on it. That being said, we respect all our finances of it, but we're still a small, crappy funded youth organization. But that's our vision. We try to empower young people, and we try to help on every kind. So don't have a baseline yet, but what I always say is how can we help? I think that's a very short introduction about maybe it would be like on my left or my right, I don't know.
Yeah, so what that normally, I totally agree. And maybe it would be easier if I just start with the short overview with generally about the Commission for Sustainable Development, so you can have a broader picture of what's going on. So after the summit in Rio that was held in 1992, we had several main outcomes of the Earth Summit. One of them is more political document that is Agenda 21, and the Agenda 21 represents actually the agenda for the 21st century and agenda for development for the 21st century, and their agenda actually recognized civil society as one of the main actors in sustainable development, and actually proclaimed broad participation, broad public participation, and from that recognize 9 sectors of civil society that are enforced for sustainable development. From there, Commission for Sustainable Development was established the following year in 1993 to actually follow up and monitor the progress made from the Earth Summit. And then Commission actually consists from 53 member states, and the innovation in this intergovernmental process was that along with the government, civil society had a floor to participate almost on an equal basis. So one of the groups of the civil society that is important for sustainable development and recognized in Agenda 21 is Major Group for Children and Youth. That is actually a network of organizations and individuals all around the world, and our work is actually our field of work is already written in the Agenda 21, but also we added new things such as facilitating the process and inputs of the young people all over the world who are interested in sustainable development. So our structure during the time has changed. So for now, we actually changed quite a lot of structure for the major group in order to better adjust for the purposes and for the aims for the conference, for the Rio+20 conference. So the main facilitators of the major groups are organizing partners that actually should facilitate a conversation between the UN and civil societies, youth-led organizations, child-led organizations, youth organizations, child organizations. And then we created a structure that is actually youth space. Ben also can maybe a bit more about it. So we created a youth space that is actually aimed at providing information on what's going on for those people who actually want to be informed and be in the loop on what's going on. Further on, we created working groups and task forces task forces are meant for the themes and objectives of the conference. So we have a task force for green economy. We have a task force for institutional framework for sustainable development, and then again we have a task force for objectives. In addition to it, we also created several working groups that should also support the research communication group that actually should facilitate the communication between groups and or to organize our strategy, communication and public relations strategy. So that's a short about the major group and the work for the Pre+20 conference.
Thank you so much. Right. So just now as you guys were talking, I'm trying to drop out what Ivana shared earlier because there's no PowerPoint slide. So for those that are here, oops, you realize? My bad, too heavy. Okay. It's heavy. Or I feel a bit stupid.
Doing something really, really wow, or it's really dramatically clumsy.
It's heavy, I didn't expect it to be this bad. It's good. So in any case, for those at the back, sorry about that. For those at the back that you can't see, just now Ivana shared a bit about how the major group children and youth came about. This is the Youth Summit. And also within the major group children and youth, there are task forces as well as working groups, communication working group, policy working group. And the task force pretty much the green economy as well, the IFCSD, to work towards Rio Summit itself. So this is just a broad view. I can go into this a bit later. But meanwhile, so just to recap, Ben is this group called Rio Plus 20s. So you can see the name here, 20s. Ideally, it goes beyond just Rio Plus 20 itself. So these are individuals that are very involved in the CSD process. They came together to form this group. So it's not just in Europe, but it is a global organization that works on consultation and strategize young people together. So anyway, that's just a recap of what's been said. So I'm going to open up the floor to you guys to ask them any questions at all that you guys have. Is that okay, Ben?
Yeah, I made some coffee in the meantime, so.
You can show your coffee. So it's a good opportunity because Ben has been also was the board member of the European Youth Forum, which is the representative for the European young people at the CSD process, as well as the COP process. So I presume you are more of a policy person, right?
Me?
Yeah.
Definitely. Like I think when you're preparing yourself, like what is my role as a person in this Rio+20 process, I think it's good to acknowledge that there are a diversity of techniques. And for some people, it's mobilizing, showing the combined strength of young people, and other people just really on the techniques and the linguistic details, stuff like that. And I'm one of the nerds that's for on the text.
Yeah, because there are people who are more policy inclined. It's just now I shared with you guys earlier. There are people who are really, like what he said, nerd and geek that's into paper documentation. Literally, he can even list to me what the documents and which paragraph sometimes on certain documents that needs to get things going, such as Agenda 21 and other negotiation texts. So in any case, okay, I'll open up to the floor for the participants here from the Asia Pacific region, the Youth Forum, climate issues and mountains. That anything that you guys like to ask. I know it's a distance away, and since they are there and they shared a bit about what they've done, do you guys have any questions at all?